My name is Angela Richardson, and I'm the head of the library here at IMSA. It's been so good to meet all these students this week. They've been coming up to pick up their HBCU hoodie. We're excited about our event, and so without further delay, I am going to introduce Amaya Houston, who is a sophomore here at IMSA, and she's going to give us just a couple seconds about what an HBCU is and why they are in existence. So without further delay.
Okay, so for those that you guys, for those who don't know, an HBCU is a historically Black college and university. These schools were established prior to 1964 because then it was very challenging for Black people to get an education because basically we're allowed to be at PWI, which were predominantly white institutions. So instead we decided to make our own schools. The first HBCU was founded in 1837 by Richard Humphrey, called Chenery University of Pennsylvania, which is still a HBCU today. The mission of HBCUs was to provide an education for Black Americans and has successfully done so has successfully established 100 HBCUs in the country today.
And next, I would like to introduce our moderator, Dr. Anita White. Dr. Anita White is the Dean of Academics and Equity here at IMSA. And Dr. Anita White also attended Lincoln University in Pennsylvania, which is also an HBCU. Without further delay, our moderator, Dr. Anita White.
Hello, everyone. So glad to see so many of you out here today. Is the mic working?
No.
It's working now.
Can you hear me now? All right. So welcome to all of you and welcome to our panelists. I am so honored to be here today representing the HBCUs as well as moderating our session for today. So just to tell you a bit about myself, as Angie mentioned, I am a proud alum of Lincoln University, which is actually right down the street from Cheney, the first HBCU. Lincoln is actually the second. We were founded in 1854. However, we were the first HBCU to actually grant a bachelor's degree. So we kind of say that we're number one, even though we didn't come around at that time. So I did get my undergraduate degree in chemistry from Lincoln. I'm not going to tell you when, because my age is my business. Anyway, and then brought myself to the Midwest to attend the University of Illinois, Chicago to get my PhD in chemistry. And so just so that we can keep things going, I know you are very excited about hearing from our other panelists. I'm going to give them an opportunity to introduce themselves. I will call you in alphabetical order and ask you to tell your major, what school you attended, of course, and what you got your degree in, that's your major. And also some of you are not IMSA alum, but if you are an alum, please let our group know the year that you graduated from IMSA. So we will start with Justin Alfred.
Yes, good afternoon. Can everyone hear me?
We can hear you.
All right. So my name is Justin Trey Alfred. I graduated from Southern University Agricultural Mechanical College, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I graduated in fall of 2019, and I got my major in civil and environmental engineering with a minor in computer science.
Thank you, Alfred. Justin, excuse me. Our next
Alfred's cool too.
Okay, very good. Is Joseph Jojo Bertrand.
I almost forgot about Jojo. So hello, everyone. My name is Joseph Bertrand. I'm actually currently in college. I'm a junior at North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University. You all can call it A&T. And I'm studying mechanical engineering here. I also graduated from IMSA in 2020, so I'm not too far removed there.
Great to see you, Jojo.
Great to be back.
Okay, next on my list is Daryl Burrell.
Hey, peoples. My name is Daryl. I'm a graduate of Morgan State University. I graduated in 2017 with a degree in civil engineering. And yeah, happy to be here.
Great, thank you for joining us today. Gary, you're up next.
Good afternoon. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
All right. So my name is Dr. Gary Kenny Jr. I graduated IMSA back in 2004. So I believe that it's an automatic registration for the old head of the group. I attended Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia thereafter, graduated in 2008 with a degree in biology with a minor in psychology. And then I went to Loyola University of Chicago, Street School of Medicine, where I got my doctorate in medicine in 2012.
Great to have you. Thank you. Yes. Jada.
Which one? I think it's two.
Oh, I'm
Is it
sorry. There
two?
are two Jadas. Jada Lewis, you're up next.
Okay. Me. Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Jada. I went to Texas Southern University in Houston, Texas. I got my bachelor's of science in chemistry. And I went to IMSA and graduated in 2015.
One of my former students. So proud of you, Jada. Up next is Janae McGee.
Hi, everyone. My name is Janae McGee. As she said, I went to the Southern University and Mechanical College in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, with a major in mechanical engineering.
Thank you, Janae. Up next, Zoe Mitchell.
Hi, everyone. My name is Zoe Mitchell, and I graduated from the illustrious Xavier University of Louisiana with a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science and a minor in both Chinese and mathematics. After I graduated, I worked at Slack.
You are IMSA class of?
I'm IMSA class of 2019. I almost forgot.
Oh, another one of my babies. Joseph Pollard.
Can y'all hear me?
We can hear you.
I am Joseph Pollard. I attended Tuskegee University, graduated in May of 2019. I got a dual degree in mechanical engineering and physics.
Yep. Next, we have Tony Richardson.
Good afternoon, everybody. Sorry for the camera issues. I don't know what is going on, but anyway, hello, y'all. My name is Tony Richardson II. I graduated from Southern University A&M College in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, with a bachelor's in mechanical engineering. So thank you for having me, and I'm glad to be here today.
Thank you, Tony. Yes, that's Miss Richardson's son. And last but not least is Miss Jada Yancey.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jada Yancey. I am a current senior majoring in chemistry at the illustrious North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University, as JoJo said, A&T for short. And I graduated from IMSA in 2019.
Okay, so the way our panel is going to go today is I'm going to ask some questions. Every one of our panelists will not get an opportunity to answer that. So we'll take a few from each question, just so that we can have some time for the audience to ask some questions as well. So our first question is, how did you make your final college decision? And did you visit the campus before attending? So who would like to answer that one? Jada Lewis, I saw your hand go first.
Yeah, so I have an interesting story as far as how I got to Texas Southern. Originally, I saw Xavier University. I went there and I was committed because I was supposed to be a pharmacist. Well, that's what I had in my head. But anyway, and then, so I committed, well, not on paper, but in my mind. And then I want to say one day I was actually at an IMSA event and I got a phone call from the advisor at Texas Southern for the Honors College. And she pretty much told me she was offering me almost like a full ride scholarship. So I called my mom that night, literally booked the flight the next day. we flew out one Wednesday morning, went to go visit the campus, and I like fell in love. People were just so nice and welcoming. And then we flew back on home that Wednesday night, and that's how I made my decision.
Thank you, Jada. I also saw the other Jada's hand go up. So Jada Yancey.
Yes. So my final decision was made after some representatives from some HBCUs actually visited IMSA in March of my senior year. And one of them, I had already gotten into the school, A&T, but at first they didn't offer me as much financial aid as another school that I had gotten into. And before I can even say my whole speech, she asked me what the representative from A&T asked me what my major was, and then she offered me a scholarship on the spot. And then similar to Jada, that next weekend, my mom, my brother, my uncle, and I drove down to campus. I loved it. And from there I was committed.
Very good. Okay. So anyone else want to answer that question before we move on? Okay, Janae?
Yes, I have a similar story, but it felt a little bit more like home. So my school, my high school, they had a lot of different colleges and stuff like that, like most high schools do, you know, college fair. And Southern University was there, and I spoke to them, and they invited me, the alumni chapter, the Houston alumni chapter invited me to basically a day on the yard. So took a bus there. It was, you know, a few weeks after the college fair, took a bus there, was able to go to a game, tour the whole campus, talk with the engineering department, talk with the honors college, and really get a feel for the campus. And I just fell in love. They gave me, you know, nearly a full ride scholarship to be a part of the honors college. And it was really a done deal from there. I couldn't go back. I fell in love with the school. So yeah.
Very good. And I did see one other hand up. Was that you, Daryl?
It was not, but I will
Oh.
speak regardless. For me, I had a similar story. I had a few acceptance letters for multiple colleges, and then I did my visits to each one, and Morgan was truly the one that changed my mind as soon as I went to the college. It wasn't too far from my home, but it also felt like home when I went there. I could see myself living there. I could see myself learning there, and I could see myself growing there. It felt like a place where everybody around me wanted me to be better. And it definitely changed my mind just being able to experience it. And that was not something that I was able to say before I visited, because to me, it was just the school up the street. It wasn't really anything special, but it became special once I stepped foot there.
All right, very good. Thank you. Okay, so I think we're going to go ahead and move on to the next question. So that is, were your parents involved in helping you make the decision? If so, how? I think I'll start this one. So for those of you who may not know, I'm originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And so when it was time for me to start looking at colleges, my mom wanted me to go to University of Pittsburgh. My dad wanted me to go to Carnegie Mellon. And I had HBCU on the brain. So I applied to Lincoln, I applied to FAMU, Florida A&M, and I applied to Hampton. Did not get a chance to visit any of those, but chose Lincoln more so because of the distance. It was the closest one to home. And at the time, I needed to be closer to home. Stepped on the campus, loved it from day one. And basically the rest was history. The day I graduated from Lincoln University, class valedictorian, my mom told me that she did not want me to go there originally, but is so glad that I did not listen to her. So that would be my story. Okay, Gary, what's your story?
All right. So my dad actually played a significant role in me. Ended up going to Morehouse. I was actually, first and foremost, Morehouse was the only HBCU I applied to. And secondly, my heart was set on Emory. And we actually went down to Atlanta to visit Emory. And he said, hey, since we're down here, let's go check out Morehouse as well. It's right down the road. And as soon as we stepped foot on that campus, like someone else alluded to on the panel, it felt like home. Just being surrounded by all those high achieving Black men. And then of course we ate lunch in the caf And I want to say, I'm not, I don't even remember I'm not sure if it was Fried Chicken Wednesday or not, but that was sure, that sure helped solidify it, if nothing else. But just being able to walk around the campus, see the history, see the MLK statues, Benjamin Elijah Mays, all these great educators, these great Black men, right? So that was how my dad specifically impacted my ended up I guess you could say visiting Morehouse College. And my mom secondarily played a role, and I'll keep it brief. While she was working at Cook County Hospital, one of the ER residents there attended Morehouse, and she was talking to him, telling, yeah, my son, he wants to be a doctor, he wants to do these things, and she mentioned whatever, one of the schools that I was interested in at the time, and he looked at me, she said, what? Absolutely not. So he was fortunate enough to link up with me, sat down with me near the University of Chicago's campus, along with 2 other Morehouse alum in the Chicago area. And that night, after talking with them and them sharing their experiences and how great it was and how great those bonds still are, I was sold on the spot. And I changed at that moment. I was like, I'm going to Morehouse College.
Excellent. Okay. Anyone else? Okay, Jojo.
All right. Yeah. My parents, thinking back to deciding on the university that I wanted to attend, ending up at ANC, my parents weren't incredibly involved with the process. Since coming to IMSA was really my choice to come to the school, they trusted me with selecting the college that I want to attend. What they did do, though, is they made sure that the colleges that I was interested in, I knew enough about them. So I think it really started earlier in high school. Before I even came to IMSA, they took me on an HBCU tour. I'm not sure if they still do it, but it's based out of Chicago. I'll see if I can get the information for it after and share it with you all. But that put IMSA put ANC on my radar. And then the summer before I was applying, I went on visits to each of my colleges. And while it was my decision to choose my final school, my parents also helped me out with the financial aid portion by helping me research scholarships. So I was looking for school specific scholarships, but my mom, she's a CPS teacher. She was also making sure that I was aware of scholarships for Chicago students and in that way. So even though it may not be with the final decision for college, your parents can still support you, because I know going to IMSA and applying to schools your senior year can be a lot. It was definitely a lot for me. And my parents were able to help relieve some of that stress.
Thank you, Jojo. Let's see a couple other hands. Okay. How about you, Justin?
So yeah, my parents had a sizable role. Both my parents are Southern alumni, as well as 2 of my uncles, my aunt, and my older brother. So Southern was the only HBCU that I had applied to. And ultimately it was the college I chose to attend. And I know my mom and dad, I know they were probably like, please pick Southern, please pick Southern. I was only used to Southern, going there for football games as a kid, going to different, home and away games. But when I went to Southern to tour it, went to the honors college, engineering, and it felt as if I was at home over there. And so that sealed the deal for me.
So here the kind of underlying story. Everyone said it felt like home. So, okay, and I think we have time for one more. Okay, Daryl?
For me, I can full transparency, Morgan was not on my radar in the slightest. I didn't even know what HBCU stood for. To me, it was just the school up the street, and I didn't really have anything nice to say about it, to be quite frank. My parents made sure that Morgan was on my list of schools to apply to, and my mind was completely changed and completely made up once I just got to know it. Once I visited and just saw the different facilities that they had just built. They had one of the most modern campuses in Maryland, and that includes all the PWIs. once I experienced it, my mind was fully changed, and I just felt like that was the place that I had to be at. I went from the biggest critic to the biggest fan. And it was all because my parents made sure that Morgan was on the list.
Thank you. Okay. All right, so next question. How did your HBCU help you get to where you are in your career today? Now, this one is primarily for our college grads, but I think our undergrads, those that are still in undergrad, can answer this one too. Zoe, we're going to start with you.
Okay, I'm gonna brag about my school for a little bit. Number one, Xavier has one of the best Chinese programs, like of all the HBCUs. So I know that I studied Chinese at IMSA. If any of you guys are also studying Chinese at IMSA, they have a program, and President Trump kind of changed the program, like the laws and stuff. But Xavier still has a relationship with the Chinese government, and so like a lot of opportunities to travel abroad, especially if you're interested in Chinese language. My school definitely connected me with that. My freshman year, I interned at Google as a software engineer. Google actually teaches the intro class for computer science at Xavier. So we actually had all of our interviews on Xavier's campus. So they did a lot to make sure that we would have access to Google. And then my second year, Amazon reached out to the school because they were looking for Black interns. And so I interned at Amazon. And yeah, at Amazon, I met my coworker, and she actually helped me. Like, she referred me to get my job at Square. So 3 out of 4 of my jobs I've gotten out of a connection from my HBCU. I think they do a lot to make sure that you're set.
Excellent, thank you. Janae, I thought I saw your hand go up as well.
Yes, most certainly. So kind of piggybacking off of Zoe, my school, Southern University, we constantly have, career fairs and things like that. Different companies come into the school to speak to us, give us different preps of, getting our resumes together, what recruiters are looking for and things like that. And a lot of alum that are in those companies come back to speak to the students. So in that case, there were 2 Dow Chemical employees that were also SU alum that came to the school. They're constant recruits at SU for Dow Chemical, and they interviewed me. I got my first internship that way. And then through obviously doing a good job, that's how I got my full-time position, where I've been for 5 years now. So definitely those connections. And to this day, the SU alumni in Dow, we're still tight. We meet every month to just catch up, make sure we're, doing well. If we have any questions, we can ask some of the more senior people that's been here a little longer. How do I go about talking to my boss about a raise? How do I go about, expressing the things that I've done to my boss, and just different things, just having that support system, even still after 5 years of graduating, it's still strong. So making those connections, I think HBCUs do a great job at making sure you make those connections and they stay together. So yes.
Thank you, Jeanette. Tony.
Yeah, Janae just did a great job elaborating on that. So just for note, I pretty much took every class with her until she graduated. But Southern did a really good job of helping me get into my professional career. From the career fairs to the career development departments to the engineering deans and to people who work for SGA. There were so many resume critique events and so many mock interview events and just so many random events that people from Dow and Genesis and Boeing and Lockheed would come to, and they would connect with the students and they would stay in contact. And still to this day, I'm still in contact with plenty of people, even from outside of Boeing. I work for Boeing now, but from Dow and from Lockheed, all these different companies and all the SU alumni organizations that are tied from the school to the workplace. Now they are so tight, and all the alumni are sure to come back and make sure the engineers and the scientists are tight. So HBCUs do a really, really, really good job from the bottom to the top, from the highest level to the smallest details, making sure that their students are professionally ready and prepared to take on the workforce.
Thank you, Tony. And I also see Joseph Pollard, your hands up.
Yes. So when I first got to Tuskegee, I was very sociable, made a lot of connections and friend groups that I'm still tight with now. And a lot of those people were a lot older than me. So just like at Southern and a lot of other HBCUs, we also had a lot of career fairs, and attending those career fairs, getting resume critiques and getting to do mock interviews with these different companies. A few of my connections actually worked for Boeing, which is who I employed with now. And they were working the career fair that year. And there's an ongoing tradition is people from Tuskegee that currently work for Boeing will go back and work those career fairs and kind of pass down those torches and hand out those resources and opportunities to undergraduate prospective students. So because I was able to make those connections, and those connections went for it and got employed with my current employer, I was able to get an opportunity to interview for one of the accelerated hiring events that Boeing was offering, and obviously did pretty well at the event, and I've been employed with Boeing for the last 4 years now.
Thank you. Okay, Jada. Yancy.
Yes. So although I am a senior, over the summer I had the privilege of interning with Eli Lilly and Company, which is a pharmaceutical company based in Indianapolis. And happy to say I accepted a full-time offer so I'll be returning in the summer full-time. And that's all because of the relationships that I built while at A&T. From the career fair to Eli Lilly actually came and spoke personally to the juniors and seniors last year in the chemistry department because they realized how HBCUs have such diverse talent, and that we are more than capable of exceeding in a role. And so therefore, I've seen more and more companies come out and to reach out to HBCUs to directly connect with the students. So that has helped a lot, and as well as the admin at A&T really set us up for success. So like I mentioned, an admin came to IMSA during my senior year, and when she came to IMSA, I called my mom, was like, "Ma, this lady wants me to go to North Carolina." And she asked my mom, "If you allow your daughter to come down here, I promise I'll take care of her." And she did just that. And I would say as an institution, they did just that. And I feel like that is a common thing with most HBCUs. Not only are you they're going to make sure that you are successful academically, but they're going to also make sure you're successful in other ways and healthy in other ways in order to be successful academically. COVID hit my sophomore year, second semester of my freshman year, and I don't think if I was at any other institution that I would have been able to be as successful as I was through such a tumultuous time. So that support that you get is going to help you and then also the resources that they have, pair those together, you have no other choice but to be successful.
To kind of piggyback off of that, when I was an undergrad, my advisor knew that I wanted to go to graduate school after I finished undergrad. And so he actually drove me to different graduate schools so that I could tour the campuses. And Lincoln University is right outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And he drove me to Texas so that I could visit Texas A&M and decide if that's where I wanted to go to grad school. So as everyone on this panel has said, get into these HBCUs and they take care of you, very much so. Okay, so moving on to the next question. This is a fun one, and I'd like everyone to get a chance to answer this one quickly. But in your opinion, what was the best activity or tradition on campus about your HBCU, and this would be something fun. So what we're gonna go, I'll go get in order so I don't miss anyone. So Justin, what was the most fun thing at your university or traditional?
Now there's a lot to choose from with Southern University, but I really can't now restrict it to one thing, so I'll say three things. Of course, one is football. Football season is probably favorite time of the year at Southern. Two was definitely red bean and fried chicken Mondays. And I'll have to say three, this was definitely the amount of opportunity that we saw at Southern, career fairs, all that other good stuff.
Thank you. Hey, Joseph Bertrand.
Okay. So I got a couple for ANC. A lot of people, I just want to make sure y'all are aware of GHO. It's greatest homecoming on earth. We have the best homecoming of the HBCUs. Not a flex, but but we also have Aggie Fest, which is in the spring. So GHO is really for the alum. All right. Disregarding that, GHO is usually for the alum, but Aggie Fest is like GHO in the spring, and that's for like undergrads. That's something I really enjoy. And we do have like fried fish Fridays. I had like group chat with my friends. We would make it to the super fried fish Fridays. But I really personally, I'm more of a morning person, and I just really enjoy, like, I'm really tight with the person who makes the omelets in the calf in the morning. So I'll like work out, go get a personally made omelet in the calf. And Miss Ivy is just such a sweet lady. So that's like my second favorite thing. But yeah, Aggie Pride.
All right. Daryl, what was the best tradition on your campus?
One of my favorites was an annual carnival that they put together on campus every year called I Love Morgan Day. That's absolutely fantastic. On the more day-to-day, I just love the game room. I pretty much lived there for who knows how long, ping pong every day, hanging out with my friends every day, arcade every day, loved it. And then the third, I'd probably just say playing sports and hanging out with folks around campus. I played soccer every week and I played Frisbee every other week. And it was just, everyone just happened to get together and play sports every once in a while. So just the camaraderie, I Love Morgan Day, and game room.
Very good, thank you. Gary, well, you.
So I actually have two. First and foremost, I respectfully have to disagree. Spellhouse Homecoming is by far one of the best on earth. That is an experience to be had for
Spellhouse.
So Spellhouse, on my apologies, that is Morehouse and Spelman. So they are literally adjacent, right door to next to one another. So, and a lot of our homecoming events are combined, specifically being obviously, they share in the football game, but more specifically the tailgating, right? In which no one actually goes to the football game because the tailgate is that heat, for lack of better, for young folk, right? It's that deal. But another thing that I like every year, especially for the incoming freshmen that Morehouse has, they have two. Usually they have the new student orientation week, or what they call NSO, and during that week they have several programs to introduce the incoming freshmen or transfers, whatever the case, to the campus. Two of those programs are Welcome to the House and the parting parent ceremony. Can't say that fast. And both those programs, kind of one starts the week and the other ends the week, are extremely moving. It gets you in the spirit of what they call the Morehouse mystique and the just nostalgia of the overall HBCU and Morehouse experience, as well as prepping the parents and families alike. Hey, that at this point, your son will begin matriculating through Morehouse College, and this is where they go essentially from a boy to a young man. So both those, but mostly the homecoming, but definitely the new student orientation week as well.
Very good. Okay, Jada Lewis.
So I would have to agree with pretty much everybody, because clearly this is a trend that HBCU homecomings are the best. It's so funny because I was talking to my mom last year, and I'm like, "Oh, homecoming is around here. I got to take off work." And she's talking about homecoming. You go to that? Like, yes, this is a must. I still go to it. So yeah, I would definitely say that is one of my favorite traditions. And then also just when I was on campus, just like randomly walking around and somebody is throwing an event or it's food trucks here on a random day. Or one time we had just camels because we had a thing called Hump Day on Wednesdays. We had camels just on campus, like by the student center. So like it's just the randomness of you'll never know what you'll expect. So
Sounds good. Okay. Janae?
Yeah, I'm not gonna harp on homecoming, but as y'all know, homecoming is everything. And Southern University homecoming, you gotta go. Even if you don't go to Southern, you need to go to SU homecoming. So regardless, I'm not gonna harp on homecoming. But one of the best traditions I would say at Southern, and one of the funnest, is our Pretty Wednesday. So that's, at least when I was there, freshman and sophomore year especially, that was the day of the week where everybody really dressed up. You dress up in your nines. I'm talking the boys in full suits, ladies in, full attire, business attire. Like everyone really dresses up and looks really nice. We congregate in outside of the union, and that's where you'll have a DJ out there. The Greeks, the D9 sororities and fraternities will go out there and stroll. It's just like a big party around lunchtime. So it's a good time. I think it's a good time to just see everybody and just kind of shut your stuff. You can, like I said, you get to dress up really nice and just have a reason to dress up. So I love Pretty Wednesday.
Very good. Okay. Zoe? Goes on in Xavier.
Yes. So we have homecoming. Homecoming is super fun. We have Mardi Gras, which if you guys don't know what that is, it's kind of like this Catholic holiday that happens for about a week in New Orleans where everyone has fun, non-alcoholic fun for those under 21, apparently. And we also have like food trucks and DJs at lunchtime on Fridays. We also have like this fresh fruit, Black-owned business that will come and sell like food on Fridays. But what I kind of want to focus on, like as Xavier's unique quality, is that everyone is really into service. It's the only Catholic HBCU. And so like they focus a lot on like global missions, but also like every Saturday there's like Saturday service, like community service, but then also they have mass on Sundays. And just like if you're really into like helping others, like there's a community garden at Xavier, there's like a food pantry at Xavier. It's a really good opportunity to have fun and meet new people and give back.
Oh, very nice. Okay. Joseph Pollard.
Definitely got to touch on homecoming. Still attending homecoming every year. This past year, that was the first homecoming the alumni could attend. Due to the pandemic, and even though Tuskegee we're pretty small, we got a population of 4,000 people. There was like 35,000 in attendance. One of the largest homecomings of the year, I want to say. I want to say something special to Tuskegee is probably the randomness. Definitely the randomness. You could go into the cave, have a random conversation with someone that about something deep like society or philosophy, and then that one conversation maybe congregates 30 other people, and now you're having like a whole dialogue that transcends that whole cafeteria to like the whole rest of the year. And there's like an ongoing dialogue you'll have with different people in different walks of life, different opportunities, different places throughout the campus. And piggybacking on for the randomness, like any day on the yard could be like a turn up day. Like one random person show up on the yard with a speaker or a set of speakers, and all of a sudden, it's another yard party. Like Tuskegee, I want to say we're in the middle of nowhere, so it's really about making your own fun, and that's definitely something we capitalize on every other day of the week.
Right. Tony?
Okay. since a couple people from Southern already spoke, I'm gonna try to pull some different experience. One that people haven't talked about yet is pageant season. It's in the spring. Very, very unique. Almost like every week, it's a different organization. The D9 organizations, you might have the Natural Hair Club pageant, or the Thicker Than a Snicker pageant, or the SGA pageant, or whoever is having a pageant. These pageants are so huge. My freshman year, it was like, if you didn't have Vince, the floors was gonna be slippery. You was gonna be slipping around because there was so many people and it was so humid and you could barely move and the music was so loud, but people were having so much fun. It was like one of the most positive experiences I've ever experienced. The pageants were crazy. Another unique experience, we talked about football, but we haven't talked about the jukebox in particular. The jukebox, I know we got other HBCUs on here and people are going to have a debate, but the Time article and a whole lot of other sources say that Southern University has the best band in the nation. So we got the fifth quarter. So after the football game, we went to the football game. We there all 4 quarters. So after that, we got the fifth quarter. So the fifth quarter of the game is where the human jukebox plays song after song after song after song until we run off the other band from the other side of the stadium and they leave. And then we get 2 wins, right? We got the football win and then we got the band win. So we got the human jukebox, we got the pageants, and then I will say the third unique experience is the red bean fried chicken Mondays and the fish Fridays. The food is so good. Them lines be long. They be even out the cafeteria. If you get behind the band and the band gets to the caf, you might be waiting an hour on your food. They might have a DJ in the caf. And we know everybody in the caf, the professors in the caf talking to us, the lunch ladies and the men that work in the cafeteria talking to us. It's like a big, huge party. Sometimes it's serious with, educational conversations. So the cafeteria at HBCU is definitely it's a grand experience, to say the least. Oh, and I don't know if y'all do this at other schools. They do this at Texas Southern. If you drop your plate, everybody's going to get up on top of their chairs and clap and scream and applaud you. So that's another pretty interesting tradition at HBCU.
Yeah, that's definitely that's definitely a tradition at TSU. And I made sure that I never did.
Okay. All right, let's wrap this question up with Jada. Nancy?
So GHO, the greatest homecoming on earth, is definitely happens at A&T. Thanks, JoJo, for mentioning that. But it's probably one of my favorite times of the year because of the fact that it's so many people and it's so much it's just so much love and so much Aggie pride. I during GHO, around the time of the game, you don't have any signal. You can be at the tailgate and you can't call or make a text to someone that you're trying to meet up with because it's so many people that the cell towers are congested. And so if you have signal at homecoming, it's not that great. I just wanted to say that. But that's probably one of my favorite times. And then as well, fried chicken Wednesdays. I guess that's kind of like our pageant because everyone dresses to the nines on Wednesdays as well for us. And then we'll have people will be listening to music on the in the caf. And then my freshman year, there was artists days in front of the student center. So there'll be different artists for different mediums sharing their art. So either painters, singers, poets, rappers, just a whole bunch of different mediums just expressing themselves in different ways. And so that was one of my favorite things. Hopefully that comes back as as we progress, but just kind of being able to just the way that we express ourselves and just Blackness and I go to A&T, so in Aggie pride, that's something that I have not experienced anywhere else. So just that overall spirit that comes out is probably one of the best things and most of the fun things at my school.
Okay, very good. And I would echo what everyone else has said. Homecoming was typically the big event for the year. We didn't even have a football team at the time. We do now, but we didn't have one back when I was there. But we always had some artists, typically a big name. So if any of our old school folks in here, we had Frankie Beverly and Mays, we had Natalie Cole, and then we had some rappers because rapping was kind of coming out at that time. So, but yeah, everyone loved Homecoming. Okay, so to wrap up our final question on the list here, if you could give a student one piece of advice regarding how to decide what school to attend, what would it be? We'd like to take that one first. Go ahead, Janae.
Okay, my top advice for picking schools is one, what do you want to major in? That is a major determining factor because that will determine, okay, so then what schools have my program, number one, what schools are really good in this program, and then that's how you can start to narrow down your scope. And then after you have that, depending on what your major is and how many options you have, then you go into, okay, how many people are offering me the most money? At least that's my perspective, because I think everyone deserves to go to school for as little money out of pocket as possible. So whoever is splitting the bill the most, that's what I would suggest. And then 3, what makes you feel comfortable? Think about what is important to you and the things that you value, and look for schools that also value those things, because you're going to spend 4 to 5, however many years you're in college, you're going to spend that time there, and that's going to be your second home. So you want to be comfortable wherever you are. So those are my top 3 things. Number 1, what's your major? Is the program good at that college? How much money are they offering you? And then how does it feel for you? Does it feel like home?
Good answers. Thank you. Anyone want to add something to that? Okay. Go ahead, JoJo.
Okay, I'll just echo a lot of what Janae said. She really hit on the head. It makes a great deal if they have your major and if they have a good program. I know for mechanical engineering, my thing is that if your school is accredited, then that degree means something, of course. Like they're going to take that degree, but you want to think also about like how well connected the professors are at your university, because those are the people that when like career fair comes, I don't know how many times I've been like talking to a company in the lobby of my college, and then a professor or one of the like members of administration comes up and they vouch for me. They're like, Joseph, this is a great student. This is someone you want to hire. You want to think about the like opportunities and how well connected that department is. Money is a big factor. Y'all are smart. I'm sure y'all are gonna do really well on that side, but that's something you gotta take into consideration. And the support system is huge. Those are the people that are gonna get you through your degree. And when times get tough in college, as they do, you want to have someone that you can call up, someone you can talk to and be like, man, I don't know how I'm gonna get through these next couple of days, and people are going to support you. That's one of the biggest things in college. And I knew I was finding that at A&T, and they've been taking care of me since.
Okay. Tell you what, let's do one more because I want to give the audience a chance to ask a few questions. So let's go with you, Gary.
Before I answer, I do have one question. Am I allowed to modify the question based, I guess, do you mind if I state why I think they should strongly consider and or attend an HBCU? You mind if I answer that question?
Yes. No, I don't mind. Please do.
I'm like, wait, you mind? Oh, okay. All right. So, so let me put on my old man hat for a second, okay? Having it, so I attended IMSA. I graduated back in 2004, so it's almost 20 years ago, right? I know lots of things have changed, but some things remain the same. okay? No matter where you grew up, no matter where you come from, there's a likelihood that as in high achieving young Black students, there were times where you felt alone. There were times where you may have felt neglected. There are times where you may have felt that no one else understood your struggle or could relate to what you were going through. And then being at IMSA, not saying that no place is perfect, right? So no matter where you go, you are constantly dealing with microaggressions, right? All in addition to all these other things. What an HBCU offers you is a home. And, all these schools are, at the end of the day, all these schools are great, no matter what you want to go into. But what it offers you is a home. It offers you a place where people that look like you are achieving just like you. And what it does is, among anything else, it affirms you. It affirms who you are. It affirms your intellect. It affirms your Blackness. And I think that is essential, because as you get older in life, like I am now, you will learn that that foundation set forth for you in college, right? Especially at HBCUs, speaking for me personally, right? I left knowing who I was and what kind of impact I wanted to make on society. So even though I left that environment, I had people that I knew I could count on to support me and get me to the next level. So you know that once you leave, once you matriculate, once you graduate, you are not alone. There are alumni chapters throughout the entire country, sometimes even the world, that you can kind of lean back on, just speaking just solely from an alumnus standpoint. So that is why I feel as if you should strongly consider an HBCU, or why you should attend an HBCU, let's be real. Thank you.
So much. And I would say that everyone on the panel would completely agree with you. So, all right, well, we only have about 6 minutes left, but I did want to take an opportunity to take at least a question or two from our audience. And so if you wanted to just stand, say your question, I will repeat it to make sure that our panelists can hear it, and then I'll get an answer or two from the panelists. So, Raven.
Hi, my name is Raven. My question is, besides like IMSA, because I mean this HBCU panel is like great, and this opportunity just to meet so many different people from HBCUs, what advice would you give for us to find like different HBCUs or do like further research about HBCUs while being here at IMSA, or like ways for us to get different recognition by HBCUs?
So her question was, how do you begin the research process? I'm going to kind of paraphrase it here, into HBCUs, and what do you recommend that a student who is hasn't really started the college process, but what can they do to get themselves more aware of HBCUs and how to go about getting more information about them? So, Tony, you want to start?
Yes, I'll start. Well, first, since you all are at IMSA, you can always go talk to my mother. No, yeah, really talk to my mother. But just Google, just Google different HBCUs, see the differences. There's HBCUs on the East Coast and the South. There's even a couple like in the Mid-South and in the Midwest. See which ones are really well known for the concentration of study that you would like to take. Like, for example, for anybody who wants to be like a aerospace engineer or a mechanical engineer, I know there's a lot of Tuskegee people who go that route because, of course, they pretty much built the platform for Black aviation. So yeah, just check out what you're interested in and what HBCUs are tied to that. Ask your advisors or anybody who's close to you to help you get in contact with maybe the dean of that college at that respective HBCU and see what they offer. Maybe they offer scholarships. Maybe they'll pay for a tour. or just see what type of opportunities that are available. There's plenty of websites and college funds that give you so much information and insight on HBCU. So, and just networking with anybody and everybody that you know that went to HBCU. So just have fun and spend plenty of time doing the research. It's really worth it.
So the hands that are up, are they for this question or are those up from previous? Okay, so Joseph Pollard.
Yeah, I would say definitely do adequate research. What I did, I hit YouTube, looked at everybody blogging nowadays. I'll watch different blogs, people's different experiences, because I didn't know I wanted to go to HBCU for at first. Originally, I'm from Hawaii, so I didn't even have like the exposure to not only Black colleges but like the Black culture. So because like I didn't really have that exposure yet, like I definitely wanted to do my research to see like what that experience would be like. So I would hit Twitter, look up different people's like usernames, everybody like, you know, tweeting about the different experiences or blogging about their different experiences. And then I would hit Google and then just look up like the rapport or like the ratings of different HBCUs for how many since I wanted to be an engineer, how many engineers are graduating and becoming successful out of that university every year. That's what I would do.
All right, so I think we have time for one more question.
Hi, I'm Brandon and I'm currently a junior at IMSA. My question really focuses around like, as a STEM institution and one that focuses on preparing students for going into careers in STEM, how do you feel that your experience at your HBCU, you're pursuing of a career afterwards or during your process of being at an HBCU, how well do you think you've been prepared to pursue a career in STEM or pursue a STEM major?
Great question. So for the panelists, if you didn't hear, how well did your HBCU, it sounds like you all heard, prepared you for your career in STEM? So Zoe, I'll start with you.
Okay. I would like to say that I don't know about everyone else, but I could guess that you get this question a lot. A lot of people want to know if HBCUs prepare students as adequately as PWIs. And on one hand, I want to address like the type of question because there are a bunch of different types of PWIs. There are a bunch of different types of HBCUs. And so if you're talking about preparation for STEM in terms of studying, and you go to a school that has a good STEM program, like most of us graduated from IMSA, we all have STEM careers. And so we all went to HBCUs who have good STEM programs, then you'll definitely be prepared. Now, if you go to an art school that's an HBCU and you're a bio major, then it wouldn't be any different than if you went to PWI art school and you're a bio major. Like the program will be accredited, you'll do well, they'll help you get a job, but it's not the same as if you're pre-med at Xavier, you know, like that's a program that they're known for. Or if you're an engineer at Tuskegee, like that's a program that they're known for. So I think as a student, you should consider majors change. Like some people may want to be Dr. White might remember this. I wanted to be a chemistry major my senior year, and I graduated with a computer science degree. So I would focus on things also like, you know, IMSA is a small school. Are you going to do well at a school like NCAT or, you know, where the classrooms are bigger, you know, or did you not like small schools? Are you going to hate a school like this where there's only like 1,000 students, you know, things like that are also important as well as the program.
So we are actually at time. Can we run over a little bit or are we?
You know what, that's fine.
Yeah. All right, so those of you who are willing to stick around for a little bit, we'll continue for a little bit longer. For those of you who must depart at this time, we thank you all for joining us today and hope that we can make some connections between some of you and some of our students who are now were interested before, but are even more interested now after hearing our panel, we'd love to facilitate that. So thank you again, and we'll just keep going. So kind of go in the order that I see hands. So Daryl, what would you like to add?
I would say that when it came to my HBCU, it gave me my first network, my network of friends that pushed me to continue to move myself forward academically, and also the network of people that I knew that could also help me in the career field as well. I still talk to the people that I met the first day of my freshman year. One of them is the best man in my wedding. That network continued to help me move forward both in school and out. And when it came to the STEM part of it, Zoe said it absolutely fantastically. Each school is different, HBCU or not. So making sure that you are at a place that is going to push you forward in the way that you want to be pushed forward is very, very important. So is your school good at civil engineering? Is your school better at mechanical? That is something that comes with the research part of it as well as the visit. So make sure that you know what you're getting into when you move yourself forward. But the HBCU, once whatever choice you make, will push you to move forward in the same way it pushed all of us.
Joseph Bertrand, what would you like to add?
I completely agree. Each school, your specific degree option is going to make a lot of difference. On top of that, though, the thing that helped me prepare mostly for my internships were like the career fairs, the different professional development that occurred in my university. So like American Society of Mechanical Engineers and NESB would host a bunch of these programs. Like right now is E-Week. We had an etiquette dinner on Monday that prepares you to like have a professional dinner with companies. And each of those built or prepared me for the corporate environment step by step. But then when companies come and visit, you're also able to have like a lot of candid conversations with the people that come from companies because they've been in your shoes before. They can relate to you a bit more as a Black person in STEM. So I get to ask a lot of questions that I don't think I would be able to ask people if I were to go to a PWI. Like earlier, I was asking someone, hey, like, how do you get through long work days? Or making the transition from undergrad to like the professional environment? How do you get through that? Because a 9 to 5 is a big jump for me personally. So I was just wondering how people make it through there. And it's really great to have like those kind of conversations and be able to ask questions of people that you aren't able to usually ask. And that prepares you even more so for stepping into the workforce.
Thank you. I think I see your hand up there, TJ.
Yes. So in short, do HBCUs prepare you for the real world and for the professional world? Yes. Everybody when people ask that question, they're usually coming from like a technical standpoint, right? Especially in STEM, they want to know if the teachers are really getting in depth into all these different topics when you get to your higher level college courses, right? So like for engineers, like mechanical, for example, like fluid mechanics and fluid dynamics and heat transfer and all these other different courses. And yes, they're gonna definitely give you a run for your money for sure. You'll have a great time in those courses. But when they say preparation, I think a huge part that's missed is just a social perspective. So your confidence. What do you look like when you walk in the room, right? Because your first impression is everything. So what do you look like when you walk in the room? What does your shirt look like? What does your tie look like? What does your suit look like? What are you smelling like? Is your hair cut? Right? What are your shoes looking like? What are your socks looking like? So I truly believe that when you go to a HBCU, by the time that you leave, you are fully convinced if you put in the work and you network as hard as you can. I don't know anybody who left the HBCU that didn't feel like they look like and they smell like money after. I just gotta keep it 100. Like you feel like high and mighty, like there's nothing that can stop you. Like you walk in the room, and even you may not like be the smartest one in the room, but you can figure out everything that you need to know. You can do everything that you need to do. Your confidence in like your aura, your swagger in the professional world, and being confident, being you, and not feeling like that you have to do a whole entire code switch and give up your identity and your culture for your professionalism it's all there. And I think that's a part of the preparedness that's not spoken on enough. So in short, absolutely. Plus, I forgot to say this, just to throw some quick numbers out there, Thurgood Marshall College Fund, less than 10% of Black college students go to HBCUs, but we produce like 40% and above of the engineers in the force. I think it's like a ridiculous amount of lawyers, like almost 70 or 80% of all lawyers have at least went to one HBCU. So our statistics as far as like Black people that we get at our institutions versus like what we spit out in our product is insane. The turnaround is insane. So yes, we prepare, absolutely.
Thurgood Marshall, a graduate of Lincoln University. Okay, Jada, wrap up with you.
All right, so I was gonna say exactly what Tony was saying, that you get this confidence. I would like to say, like, HBCU speak life into you. So when you go out to this world and you're again the minority, you're not afraid to step into that room. You have the confidence and you know that you are capable of doing the job that you were hired for. And then on a technical standpoint, I feel like I'm prepared just like as any other. If I went to any other institution, use very similar curriculum, if not the exact same curriculum. And so on a technical standpoint, yes, I'm prepared, but I feel empowered when I walk into a space. In my different internships and research opportunities that I've had off campus, sometimes I might start to doubt myself because, oh, I don't know this, or I feel like I should. But then I remember that I'm still learning. I'm still undergraduate, but I'm doing research with PhD level scientists or graduate students. And so it's a learning thing. And my HBCU has taught me how to adequately learn. And so that I know that I'm capable of doing what I'm doing. Because like I said, my school spoke life into me. And I feel like HBCUs in general speak life into you so that you can go out and speak life into the next generation of Black scientists and technologists and things like that.
Thank you, Jada. Okay, well, that brings us to the end of our panel. If you all would please give our panelists a rousing applause. Now I'm going to turn the mic back over to Ms. Richardson.
Okay, can we please clap it up for our moderator, Dr. White, please? And all of our panelists as well, you guys, can we clap it up for them as well? Everyone, thank you so much for attending tonight. I'm so excited that we were finally able to do this. Just some quick thank yous. I'd like to thank again all the panelists, Dr. White, the principal's office, the Office of DEI here at IMSA, ITMS, and the Office of Public Affairs. And last but not least, Dr. Kennebrew, I appreciate you and your support. He knows what I'm talking about for this event. And again, thank you so much for coming. I hope you all had a good evening and have a good night. Take care. Bye-bye.